my shitty ex would have turned 36. And why am I sitting in my car crying?
After listening to all of that, I definitely can understand Stockholm Syndrome to a degree, where one loves their abuser nonetheless. And despite the abuse and obviously toxic relationship, I can definitely say that, you still found positives in it regardless. Obviously, there was a lot of narcissism that you were being, you were a victim to, yes. But you're also a survivor of that. And his unaliving himself could be viewed as a point of fresh air, that you're released from those shackles that were keeping you so bound to a toxic, abusive, very volatile situation. I can try to put myself in his shoes and understand that the amount of guilt that I would have had, I probably would have done the same if I was doing that to someone at 20, stuff like that. So you can maybe look at it as a potential act of love, because that type of person that is so into their toxicity is probably not going to change and probably doesn't see it. But maybe he got a glimpse of that in those moments, at those, like, after those 3 days or whatever, when he came home and then went to a friend's and then did his deed. Maybe he was given that realization, and maybe potentially, unless you have more information, none of my business, but I'm just putting out my thoughts here. It was just really just out of for your own sake, because clearly that was not healthy for you. So I can understand, some that would want you to celebrate, and I can understand your grief. You're entitled to it. It's a loss is a loss regardless. So it's like, a loss of life, especially when you've invested a lot of time into them, despite being a victim of some sort of domestic, abuse sort of ordeal. But more power to you. You're strong. And it's cool to cry. Let it out. You feel a lot better after, right? Fun fact, the only way to get rid of cortisol, your stress hormone, is through your tear ducts. So when you cry, that's why you feel a lot better when you're done. So keep crying. You got this. But remember, you're not a victim anymore. You've survived that, and you've now have a story to tell that could help other people to, how to navigate a situation that could be similar. So it's very courageous of you to make that story that is no one's business, but make that story public and stuff like that. It takes a lot. So I commend you for that.